webinar. I am thankful to you all that you have all joined this webinar on Sunday morning. Today, I am very happy to announce that 27 June is celebrated every year as MSME Day to recognize the contribution of these industries in the implementation of sustainable development goals. For this webinar, we have specially called very intelligent speakers and the chief guest. Before I name all, I would like to mark the presence of Chairperson of the Jalandhar branch, C. Sonia Arora ji, Executive Committee members, that includes Vice Chairman, C. A. Shashi Bhushan ji, Treasurer, C. A. Vinay Jindal ji, Immediate Past Chairman, C. A. Piyush Bansal ji, Past Chairman, Umed Dada ji, and Executive Members, C. A. Sumit Arora ji. I welcome all the executive committee members. We have with us today the chief guest, Mr. Bhushan Sharma ji, Circle Head PNB Bank from Kapurthala. We have Mr. Sudhir Sharma ji, guest of honor AGM MCC PNB. So we welcome you both. We have specially called K. Keshwar Nair ji, Assistant General Manager SIDBI as a guest speaker of the day, and Mr. Tushar Jain ji, CII Chairman Jalandhar for the as a speaker of the day. So we welcome you both. I welcome all the participants who have joined. I mark the presence of our past president Ashwini Jindal ji, other senior members present. I now invite our chairperson C. Sonia ma'am to say please few words and welcome the members.
Thank you, Gurleen ji. A very good morning to all. I have heard that it's always fruitful to be in the company of intellectuals. But when we are going to have galaxy of them together, then the feel and gains are marvelous. Sir, we wholeheartedly welcome our esteemed chief guest, Bhushan Sharma sir, Circle Head PNB, and actually a name that reckon respect only. He is a passionate, determined, and humble person, having experience of more than 26 years in banking. He is so humble person that during my conversation with him, he told that he will introduce himself. I haven't seen such a humble and polite person who also achieving so much in life is so down to earth. I also welcome another star from the galaxy of intellectual, Mr. Sudhir Sharma ji, a kind-hearted, hardworking, and intellectual person who will be going to guide us about the MSME schemes today. And it's really a privilege to have with us Tushar Jain sir, who is a CII chairman, perfect blend of professional excellence with humble attitude. He is going to impart knowledge on Invest Punjab too. And then we have a person from SIDBI, Mr. K. Keshwanji, Assistant General Manager, who is in his first meeting give his consent to enlighten us all on the SIDBI scheme. And now we are fortunate to have all the today here to enlighten us on the topic of MSME, the sector which is the backbone of the economy. And I am sure that we will be immensely benefited with the today deliberation. Before the start of technical session, let me brief you regarding the branch activities. It is true that problems are not stop signs, they are guidelines. And this pandemic realizes the importance of a healthy lifestyle. Today, I firstly thanks all the 50 CA fellow colleagues who make my mini marathon and memorable event with their active participation, enthusiasm, and making Sunday morning more refreshing for us all. Workshop on GST is going to be conducted in the first week of July, and on the eve of CA Day celebration, the Bola with games, along with tree plantation, flag hosting, and honoring the efforts of all the past chairmen and charity activities already planned by the branch. So I thank you all for your participation, and I humbly request you all to please keep this participation in the future event too. So now I request Gurleen ji to please proceed the session for the further.
Thank you so much, Sonia ma'am. Thank you for so much for telling the future programs of the CA Day also. I request all the members to keep their participation in all the programs. Before we start with the technical session, I firstly request our chief guest of the day, Mr. Bhushan Sharma ji, Circle Head PNB, to sir, please say a few words.
Good morning. Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the chairperson, Sonia Arora ji, Tushar Jain ji, CII chairman Jalandhar, and then your Just a moment. I have to see the names. Okay, let me cut it short. And all the office bearers of your association who have joined here. So I thank you all for giving me this opportunity to interact with you all on this very important day, which is MSME Day. My name is Bhushan Sharma. I have joined as circle head in Jalandhar East. It's not Kapurthala, sir. It's Jalandhar East. So I have joined here on 1st of June. So it's been only 20 days since I have taken charge of this circle. And I joined banking career. I started my career in 1995 in erstwhile Oriental Bank of Commerce. And after amalgamation, I have become part of PNB. And it's a very big bank. And it is a privilege that you have chosen me for representing the banking sector as such, the public sector banking. And as madam was telling that I am very down to earth, so I was not knowing that madam is the chairperson and she is interacting with me for settling the smaller issues like connectivity and all. So she is also very down to earth and she has not delegated this job to anybody else. Okay, you sort it out. So I thank you, ma'am. You are also very down to earth. And being down to earth is very important in life, because the moment you are away from that humility, then the problem starts in life. So I am circle head of Punjab National Bank, Jalandhar East, and I hope that today's interaction will result in a lot of business opportunity for the Punjab National Bank, Jalandhar Circle. And I have worked previously. I will introduce myself as madam told. I've joined bank in 1995. Then throughout, I have worked in different sectors, different places, like in Haryana, like in Delhi. Then I have also worked in Ludhiana first in 2008 to 10. At the time, I worked in a forex branch. Then I have been to overseas also. I have worked in representative office of Oriental Bank in Dubai. Then I have worked in Kerala, and I have handled retail. I have handled MSME department in Ludhiana previously. And immediately previous to this, I was in Kanpur in recovery section. So my association with MSME is very big in the sense that I have headed MSME cluster of Oriental Bank in Ludhiana during 2017 to 20. And I had opportunity to interact with a lot of entrepreneurs, particularly in the field of hosiery and hosiery. Basically, that is the area where Ludhiana is. Then there is cycle industry, the tractor parts. So I have the opportunity to interact with all this, and I know the issues which they face. And I know the both side of the coin, means what they feel about bank and what bank feel about them. So the same when I come to Jalandhar, then I find out that here we have a different segment of MSMEs, means it is primarily famous for this what to say, sports goods, and then furniture industries here, and leather tanneries here. So the same was in Kanpur also, leather industry. So I am very hopeful that with this opportunity to interact with all of you, and with a regular meeting also I will plan to meet you in person also, as and when the situation permits, to get a wider chunk of the business for our bank. And in turn, we are at your disposal to serve the customers present as well as prospective to the best of our ability. And the customer service will be the best that I can promise. And rate of interest and all schemes that we possess are second to none. We have all the best schemes in the domain. Like we have a scheme where only GST returns are required, nothing else is required, and we finance all the schemes, CGTMSE coverage, hybrid schemes of CGTMSE, and means we can fund from the people who are to take 50,000 loan to 50 crores loan up to this area. Means in Amritsar, we can get it sanctioned from Amritsar up to 50 crores. So I am very hopeful that today's meeting, and this is the start of a new relationship. So we will be just marching ahead in terms of growth of our bank with your support. And I congratulate you all on having this meeting today. And I hope that this is a grand success. And I will be now handing over the stage to my colleague AGM Sri Sudhir Sharma ji, who is heading MCC, means which is similar to MSME, MCC processing cell in Jalandhar. In Jalandhar, we have two regional offices, we can say two circle offices. One is Jalandhar East, which I am heading. Another is Jalandhar West, where Mr. Surinder Singh is there. But Sir is taking care of all the branches processing in entire Jalandhar. So he is a very important person, very practical person, very down to earth person, even down to earth than me. And he will be a very big asset for the bank. And he will be giving you the details of the products in detail. So now I thank you all once again for giving me this opportunity to appear as on behalf of my bank. And now I request Sudhir Sharma ji to take over from me. Thank you.
Good morning to all. Should I speak? Good morning. Sir has introduced me. I am Sudhir Sharma. I am AGM as MCC head Jalandhar. MCC means Mid Corporate Center. My office is dealing with all MSME and corporate loans above rupees 1 crore up to 10 crores. And above 10 crores, we send the proposals to our zonal office, which is handling the proposals up to 50 crores. And above 50 crores, we are sending the proposal to our HO. Are you hearing me, madam? I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now I am thankful to Madam Sonia Gurleen sir and Shri Tushar Jain ji. I also welcome them and thanks them for inviting me to give me opportunity to interact with such intellectual persons. As sir has said that I am down to earth, I should be down to earth. Everybody should be down to earth because we are in service sector.
Exactly.
If we don't, we are not down to earth, we can't provide the service. If we don't provide the service, it means our customer is not satisfied with us. If customer is satisfied not with us, we can't grow. I think I am right. Huh? It is our duty to down to earth and to handle the customers very carefully. Now, I also.
मैडम बीच में रोकूंगा है. कहते हैं फल जो है झुके हुए पेड़ों पे ही लगते हैं.
I also congratulate ICAI for the CA day. I think it is CA day today. I don't know. It is CA day today and MSME International Day. I again thankful to you all for all of us to inviting me to interact with you yourself. I am at your disposal always. I will always remain at your disposal. At your disposal. I belong. First of all, I want to share with you. I belong to Jalandhar. So I know I know this area, problem being faced by this area, being industrialist, what the problems are they facing. And I think I will be helpful to convey our problems being faced by industry to my higher authorities. First of all, MSME is the backbone of any economy, especially in India. As I learned, in India, there are more than 6 crores MSME units are located in India. And out of that, 25 lakh units are registered through the portal. To Indian economy, for MSME, I think MSME is the backbone of any country. It gives employment at low cost. It is also the supplier of the inputs, raw material, etc., and spare parts sector to our big industries. It is generating employment of, I think it is 15 crore people are generating employment through the MSME units, and it is next only to the agriculture sector. MSME unit played very important role in the growth of economy. It is 29%. I think it is 29% contribution GDP of India. It is helps in exporting our products such as in service sector and other products to foreign countries, and also dependency on foreign countries are decreasing. It also helps in increasing our foreign exchange portfolio also. And to meet the different requirements of the MSME units, bank has developed so many. We have so many. I should say so many products. We have schemes and products such as for the industries we have PNB Udyog scheme. For the this service sector we have PNB Seva. We have PNB Vyapar, we have PNB Transport, We have PNB, this Vyapar and etc. And we have also schemes for the GST Tatkal scheme, GST Express scheme. Because GST Express scheme was launched in 2017, 1st of July. So to meet the problems, we have very simplified scheme, GST Express scheme. Moreover, MSME scheme was launched by Government of India in 2006. And after that, there are so many changes have taken place. So to cover the more units in the MSME ambit, government has modified by notification of 1st June 2020, government has modified the definition of MSME. And now it is more broader sense. More units are being covered in the MSME, such as micro. We have now, first of all, we have up to 1 crore plant and machinery investment, plant and machinery, and sales up to 10 crores. Now it is micro units. Small units, it is up to 10 crores plant and machinery investment, and 50 crores up to sales. And MSME, last is 10 crores up to 50 crores investment, plant and machinery, and 250 crores in the sales. So to give the benefits to MSME unit, government has broadened the sphere, and bank has also launched the schemes also. I think with the interaction between CII, Chartered Accountants Association, and banks, we can cater better to the needs of our industries partners also. Madam, you can interact with me for any query, please. What I have said, I have already said.
And Bhushan sir, it was wonderful to know you both. You both are very down to earth, and you have guided us very well that the service industry or any industry should be very down to earth to give the best services or to keep all the things into the line. So we welcome you both. There is a lot more to know.
I will just interrupt you, sir, with a one sentence. Yes, that we are here to take business to higher levels, and we will not allow any of our loans to be taken over by any bank. Rather, we will be taking back the loans which have been taken over by other banks with support of all of you. This is what I require. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I was just going to say the same line that you have guided us best about your bank schemes and other MSME schemes. We are thankful to you for that. And you have shown us that we professional chartered accountants have a good score when we have a good client or who is in need of any product. We can come up to you now very openly. And with not even your bank, we also have K. Kishwan ji, जो हमें SIDBI के बारे में बताएंगे. There will be a more interaction and there will be more many things in the round.
Yes.
So before I start with the second technical round, I request our immediate past chairman Piyush Bansal sir to please introduce both the speakers of the day, Tushar Jain ji and K. Kishwan ji.
Thank you, Gurleen ji. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to introduce the guest speakers of the day. Today is MSME Day. I would like to say, before introducing our speakers, one thing about MSME, which is my personal feeling. Just like as a father take care of family, वो पूरी तरह से अपने फैमिली की मेंटेनेंस के लिए सारे एक्सपेंसेस, सारी पूरी मेहनत फादर कर रहे हैं फैमिली को रन करने के लिए, उसी तरह से एमएसएमई मेहनत कर रही है हमारी इकोनॉमी को रन करने के लिए। तो फादर के हिसाब से कल्चर की जा रही है पूरी इकोनॉमी हमारी एमएसएमई की तरफ से। दैट्स व्हाई वी आर हैविंग जस्ट लाइक फादर डे, वी आर हैविंग एमएसएमई डे नाउ। तो ये एक रिमार्क है टू जस्ट say कि MSME is very important. For that, we have two guest speakers today. Mr. Tushar Jain, who is CII chairman from Jalandhar. I would like to say that Mr. Tushar Jain is by qualification an engineer from a reputed institute of Punjab, Thapar Institute of Engineering. Earlier time, it was very difficult to get admission to Thapar Institute, and that show his intellectual level that he got engineering from that institute. He is chairman of CII Jalandhar Council. As a member of CII, I can watch that apart from industry, he is also working on this vaccination and other things regularly on industry front as well as for general public also, as well as the labor in industry also. He is convener Agri Machinery Panel EEPC India and as well as General Secretary Jalandhar Auto Parts Manufacturer Association. So he is the blend of everything, the qualification, experience, who will be handling this seat. MSME part, practical aspects will be discussed. Thank you very much, Tusharji, for being here. I welcome you on this panel of Institute of Chartered Accountant of India, Jalandhar branch. And our
Thank you very much.
guest, thank you, Ji, thank you very much. And our second guest speaker is Mr. Iyer. I would say Mr. Mr. K. Keshwan is the assistant manager. Mr. Keshwan is an experienced person in MSME financing. He is called as all-rounder in MSME financing, having experience of more than 23 years with Citi and associated at various levels, ranging from managing credit portfolio at branch level, managing recovery of trust assets and NPA, and leading the MSME loan processing cell at regional level. In addition, he is working with branch expansion and accounts and audit coordination at regional level, and policy advocacy, strategic planning and budgeting and performance evaluation of branch offices at head office level. We are very happy to have you here, sir, Mr. Keshwan Iyengar. Welcome you to Jalandhar branch, sir. Thank you. Please give a big round of applause for him on a digital mode.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, PUC. You always introduce the speakers in the best possible manner. And now I request our first speaker, Tushar Jain sir, to kindly start the session. And I request I inform all the members that after Tushar sir, K. Keshwan sir will take up the session. Over to Tushar Jain sir. So you can share your screen.
Well, good morning to everyone, and really it's a pleasure to be online on such a elaborate and distinguished forum. To be very frank, I had my own inhibitions because when Miss Sonia called me up and asked me to make a presentation in front of the CAs, so I said that this is the class of people where the industrialists go and ask their queries. What will be my position to speak in front of such learned people? And this was going behind in my mind. And then I thought that, maybe nature designed something for a cause. And this call is perhaps to prove that not all businessmen are the same. And some really deep dive into the situation and the documents and gain their own facts correct themselves. So thank you very much, ma'am, for actually getting me into this retrospective thoughts and giving me enough confidence to speak up in front of such esteemed chartered accountants, I think from all across Punjab. Uh, First of all, my humble regards to Mr. Bhushan Sharma, Circle Head PNB, AGM Mr. Sudhir Sharma. Of course, Sonia ji, you are jitna thank you bole apna kam, and CA Gurleen Sani, CA Piyush Bansal ji, and old known associate, very respectable person, the backbone of the industry finance, representative from SIDBI, Shri Keshwan Iyengar. We've had the pleasure of meeting each other a couple of times before as well, and especially from the Auto Parts Association when we had conducted our last knowledge series with SIDBI. So, of course, you were there along with Mr. Priyadarshi. Right, sir? I hope you remember that. It was just before the second wave of COVID.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you. So, to start with, MSMEs basically is the backbone of performance of any large industry or a country's progress as such. If we see the contribution of MSMEs, it is more than 80% contribution in Germany. If you go around and see, the development that is happening in that part of the world, it's really surprising, and it gets the facts correct that the most developed or the technically superior country from where we get the best of the goods and the most expensive one have majority of MSMEs standing behind the industrial progress of the country. Talking about India, uh, our concentration, my particular concentration is more towards the export sector. Around 50% of our exports, the contribution is from the MSME side. And the similar projection is from the employment generation as well. So, friends, my heartiest greetings to all on the International MSME Day. And it has been since 2017 that we've got the pleasure of recognizing the contribution made by MSME towards the industrial progress. Uh, the reason why I have been called here is perhaps to present some facts on ease of doing business in Punjab. And that's because of the single window system that is Invest Punjab portal that we have. Especially and on today's date, when we have around 2.6 lakhs MSMEs in Punjab and contributing towards the growth of Punjab, it makes appropriate sense to introduce Invest Punjab and industrial progress in Punjab. So based on this, I would like to start with a small presentation of around 16, 17 pages perhaps. And I hope I don't sound boring during this time. And if it is, do please ping me or let me know so that I can wrap it up quickly. Sonia ji, with your permission, shall I start the presentation?
Sure, sir.
Just confirm me once you see that.
Yes, sir.
It's visible.
Screen is visible.
Okay. So a brief introduction about me has already been given, but I will just like to add here that after my education, I think the real person, the real architect behind whatever I am today is my father. In spite of having an industrial background or from a businessman family, he motivated me to get the experience from outside world and see what is happening around. So post engineering, I did a couple of experience of working in some private companies. Spent 1 year in Gurgaon in world's largest MSME for construction, which is Bechtel Corp. Spent 2.5 years in Dubai into a sales profile of specialized industrial buildings, and that's how when the time was right, I was almost about to go to an MBA college, got the admission in IIFT, Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. It struck to me that entrepreneurship is something which I cannot learn from the college. It has to come from within, and perhaps the on-job training is the exact thing that I would be going forward with. So I joined family business, and here is where I am today. But there was one thing which was missing, and that was the learning part of it, of the professional or the large scale industry. That kind of a learning which I had during my work experience was missing somewhere. So I got the opportunity to join CII, Confederation of Indian Industry. We joined them in 2015, and since then there has been no looking back. The reason why CII, Confederation of Indian Industry, is there as the backbone of the industrial development and also upgradation of MSME is that it imparts a lot of managerial, technical, and social knowledge for a holistic development of a company. Not only does it teach how to organize your work well, but it also teaches you how to make it more robust, more versatile, and at the same time how to give something back to the society in the form of CSR. So that's what CII is. CII on a large scale works on the policy advocacy. There have been various initiatives regarding ease of doing business at state or even at national level. So a lot of that credit goes to associations like CII, SOCHM, FICCI, PhD Chamber, Export Promotion Councils. But being a part of different associations or councils, I've come to acknowledge that CII is something where the government really listens to or puts its ears to. So that's a brief about CII as well. Now, our very learned speaker has already introduced to you about the change in the definition of MSME, which is in Hindi we say Suksham Laghu Evam Madhyam Udyog, micro, small, medium enterprise, with effect from 1st of July. This demand had been going on for the last uh, 10 years, and since the last 5 years from industry, we had kept on telling the government that the definition is not comprehensive. The investment in plant and machinery has increased manyfold, and we cannot have the same definitions which are age old definitions, and they sound more like from the British era. So of course the government paid more attention to it. Thanks to the government at center, they revised the definition of micro as 1 crores of investment and turnover of 5 crores. Small is investment of 10 crores and turnover of 50 crores. Medium industry is one which has exceeded the equipment and plant as 50 crores, and the turnover is 250 crores. But having said that, there was a demand from the export promotion councils where the export turnover, as a matter of incentive, should be left out of it. So the export turnover is not considered as the part of the turnover criteria. That's a very underlining statement that I would like to make here. MSMEs in Punjab, as I had already informed, approximately 2.5, rather they are 2.6 or 2.7 lakhs at the moment. But the major industrial hubs of Punjab is prominently in Ludhiana and Jalandhar, with 90,000 MSMEs registered in Ludhiana and 18,000 in Jalandhar, with catering to different sectors, as you can all see on your screen. In order to progress or augment the industrial development of Punjab, we know that we have lagged in the industrial progress, and a lot of other states have moved quite far off and at a very fast pace, Gujarat being one of them. So, taking cue from all these different states, the Punjab government had come up with the single window clearance system in their policy in 2013. That wasn't very successful though. So, with the new government in 2017, a new policy was devised and it introduced to the industry in 2017. So, this bureau is now known as Invest Punjab Bureau, and it's an investment promotion agency and a unified regulator where every application, all the approvals can be taken through a single window at the single user ID. So its bifurcation is two levels. Of course, in 2017 it was classified as MSME units and large units based on that definition, but now the criteria remains the same, whereas the MSME units is not the right word to say. All the cases which are up to 10 crores of FCI, they are referred to the district level authority where the chairman is deputy commissioner, and any cases beyond 10 crores are referred directly to the CEO Invest Punjab, who is Mr. Rajat Agarwal. He's an IAS officer now. Uh, Here you can see the different types of clearances which are available on the single window system. And of course, they are almost covering all the fields and everything which is required to start an industry. The recent development that has happened is that they've added road cutting permission from the local government also to be applied online. Friends, there has been a lot of problems with the industry in getting all the approvals by knocking different windows. But thankfully, with the help of the single window system, now we are able to get the approvals online. So all this information is given on your screen. I won't name them one by one, just in order to save some time. So it's very important, this screen, this slide which I am sharing now. It's very important from the CA's point of view, because what happens is that most of the industrialists, they don't dwell into the documents and they don't read the documents themselves. I myself keep telling the industry stalwarts and even the friends around and even the industrial community that please go into the documents and read for yourself. At least you'll catch one or two critical points. So generally what happens is that the first question that comes up to the mind of an industrialist who wants to set up properly and within the law of the land is to start with. So here you can automatically tell your clients and customers that this is what you need before the site clearance, like the change of land use, consent to establish. This consent to establish is a very important point. Generally, the industrialist thinks that once he has established the industry, he has to go to PPCB, Punjab Pollution Control Board, and take the approvals. Whereas before the start of the project, there is a consent, which is the consent to establish, which has to be taken from the PPCB. And based on this consent to establish, a consent to operate is provided to the industry later on when it has to start the production. Even for temporary power, the industrialists used to go throng around or go here and there, pay some commission to the low level staff and get the temporary power connection. You don't have to do it now. Once you have identified the land, once you have consulted that it is within the industrial zone and it is good to go for an industry, you can apply for even a temporary power connection through the portal. Uh, uh, Before construction, the building plan approval, factory plan approval, etc., has to be taken. And once your plans are approved and it is good to go, then of course the industrialist can go for the construction stage. And before commissioning, he has to take certain approvals, which are also there on your screen. And once the commercial productions or operations have started, then they can go for the fiscal incentives or renewals from time to time. Even the renewals are now provided through the single window system. Here, one would ask, I'm going back to the screen, that one would ask that it is all about the new projects. But no, my friends, this is as well applicable for the expansion projects. Now, in expansion, there is a limitation or there is a criteria that if a unit has an initial FCI, fixed capital investment of up to 100 crores, then it has to do minimum 50% expansion. Beyond 100 crores, they have to do an expansion of 50 crore or plus. It's not in the percentage then. However, the underlining statement. Now, this however is very important because I have learned this from my friend CA, Mr. Gaurav Agarwal. I think he's also there online. So, whenever we are talking to each other, and especially his father, the same Agarwal ji, who's from Shahkot, he's always saying that वो कुंडी जो होती है ना कुंडी जानना बहुत जरूरी है because the government gets you on hold from that kundi only. So that's what where the however comes. So the however is that if a unit is Z certified, which is zero defect, zero effect, then the criteria for minimum expansion is phased out and you can get an exemption from that. So that is how you can do the expansion even with 10 or 20% provided you have the Z certificate. Apart from that, if in the same premises you are doing an expansion as a separate building altogether, then that classifies as a new unit expansion. And if you're doing an expansion in a neighboring plot, even if the unit has the same GST number, then also it can be applied as a new unit. So there you don't have to think of an expansion. So that's the clause. Now, this is a brief of flowchart how the regulatory clearances happen. So once an investor fills up the form online for any regulatory clearance, and if it's an MSME, since it's an MSME day, so we are focusing on that. So it goes directly to the district level dealing hand. MSME here would not mean anyone above 10 crores. It's referring the old definition, and this was actually given on the Invest Punjab presentation. But I would say if it is below 10 crores, the application goes to the dealing hand at district level, and from there, once the regulatory approval is awarded, it goes back to the investor. So then he can go ahead. So this is how the screen of Invest Punjab looks like. Now, actually, why I am talking to you on the Invest Punjab, all the CAs here is that generally the investor or the industrialist, he just goes to the CA and says, "Sir, मेरे को तो Invest Punjab में ना अपना नया unit register करवाना है." And they all have an inception in mind that CAs will do even this job for them. Whereas the CA says that, okay, my job is something else, this is something new, and you have to make your own application. And to be very frank, I would like to hereby enlighten the galaxy of attendees that we have that this common application form or proceeding on Invest Punjab is really so easy that the investor should be able to proceed himself. But since he has a habit of going around to the CAs and disturbing them for all petty jobs, so one would come to you, and I am sure that all CAs would be applying it. One CA can apply for 10, 15, 20, 50, any number of projects. He can have his own login ID. His office can have a login ID, and there they can create multiple projects for different customers. So the website where you have to go is either pbindustries.gov.in or Invest Punjab portal. From the pbindustries.gov.in, you can get a link on the homepage to Invest Punjab itself. Once you land onto this screen, first of all, you have to do the investor registration. In investor registration, you will be asked for your email ID, mobile number, etc. Then an activation email will go to your email, and then you have to activate the link, and you will be coming back to this website and going to the investor login link. So that's how the journey starts. Once you land up here, as you can see on your screen, that there are approximately 150 projects. So of course, this has also been done by from some service provider, and he's been applying for different projects. But okay, if the investor is doing for himself, then this is the page where you can see on the bottom left, there's add new project with CAF. So that means you have to fill up the common application form. Once you click this common application form, it is self-explanatory. It is so easy. It's a form in English, simple English. So my information or my request to all the investors have been that just go to the form, at least read it for yourself. Whatever it is asking, just upload. It cannot ask you beyond the requirements of the department, because a lot of thinking, a lot of brainstorming has already gone through. So just keep on filling up the information and uploading. But yes, don't just fill up the information for the sake of it. Only fill up the information or start filling up the CAF once you have identified the piece of land, you have prepared a DPR with your CA, and at the same time you have prepared a blueprint of what you are going to construct now, not 10 years down the line. So just don't start making lines on the drawing for the sake of it. Just be sure, have the Swedish concept in place, plan for 6 years and execute in 6 months. That's it. So this is how simple it is. Of course, during the beginning of the project, the investors also would like to take some incentive. For example, the stamp duty incentive. Now, there are different thrust sectors actually which have been identified in the Invest Punjab policy. In the manufacturing, for example, they are e-vehicle, textile, footwear, agri, electronics, aerospace and defense, biotech, pharma, bioenergy and processing of agro waste, bicycle and components, alloy steel. These are from the manufacturing, and from the service industry like IT, ITES, life sciences, healthcare, tourism, logistics, maintenance, repair of aviation and defense sector. So these are the thrust sectors where you can avail the exemption from the payment of stamp duty. And even there is more GST benefit for a thrust sector. So unfortunately, our auto parts is not there at the moment, and we've been fighting around for almost 2 years to include that, being the most prominent sector of the manufacturing GDP. However, we have to live with what is available to us, and during the course of starting the application, or once the CAF is filled, the before beginning the project, the investor can apply for the ICAF, which is Incentive Common Application Form. So this is how the screen will look like. Now there are some recent clearances which have been just added to Invest Punjab portal. I would just like to take you briefly on this slide once again. You see that before site clearance and before construction, there are so many approvals which are already mentioned. And if the investor has to go around for all these approvals, it would take approximately 6 months or more to just get the approvals and start the construction. However, based on the neighboring state, we suggested the government in 2018 why not to come up with the Right to Business Act, where an investor has the privilege of starting the factory and then within 3 years take all the regulatory approvals in the due course. And the reason why this was suggested is that most of the time the investor has to stand in the queue, follow a different under the table, over the table bypass routes, gets the approval, save his time, and then proceed for construction. So just in order that the investor does not have to hurry for all these approvals, a brilliant act, which is Right to Business Act 2020, was introduced by the Department of Industries and Commerce. Under this act, if any unit wants to set up in a designated industrial area like focal point, surgical complex, leather complex, I'm just talking about Jalandhar, or industrial estate, then they can get an approval in 3 days. All they have to do is fill up the CAF, go to the S cap, which is services cap. Under the Department of Industries, fill up the right to business rule form 2, rule form 1, and they can get an approval, the in principle approval rather, within 3 days to start their work. And from outside the designated zones, that is, let's suppose that a lot of expansion in Jalandhar is happening around in Gadaipur, Salaimpur, Musalmana, Hoshiarpur Road, Kapurthala Road, so on and so forth, Haryana. There they can file in form 2, where they can get an approval, in principle approval, within 15 days, because that's the time of action taken which has been fixed. If any department does not make a remark or an objection, or does not give a principal approval, after 15 days, a deemed approval will be automatically generated from the system and it will be sent to the investor. That's the beauty of this right to business rules. Other approvals are also mentioned, which are of lesser importance, but yes, they have been added for the sake of the convenience of the investor. There are various fiscal incentives. Those fiscal incentives under the scheme can be known from the detailed scheme and guidelines, which is available on pbindustries.gov.in. The name of the document that can be downloaded from this link is Detailed Scheme and Operational Guidelines. I've just taken a few of them for the knowledge of the house, and they are related to technology and certification as well. That, for example, if any unit is going on for adopting some technology from a reputed national institute, then it can get a subsidy of up to 50% of the acquisition cost, to a maximum of 25 lakhs. Reimbursement for any plant and machinery which is required for the zero defect, zero effect scheme. 50% of that can be reimbursed, subject to maximum of 5 lakhs. 75% of the reimbursement for any expenses made for the energy audit, or up to 1 lakh rupees for water audit and safety audit. And for setting up a effluent treatment plant or for installation of pollution control devices, there's another scheme of 50% financial support, subject to maximum of INR 25 lakhs. So yes, government has given some due consideration towards the incentivization of technology, certification, and even the environment friendliness. Another type of incentive that is available is for the market outreach, and that is for the export oriented units. For example, they can get 1% of the FOB value, or the freight paid for the shipment. However, the catch here is again that the unit has to be Z certified. There are other incentives, like for example, up to 1 lakh per program for design and awareness for industry. Then 5 crore has been set aside for from the Punjab government for MSME, specifically for organizing vendor development meets and RBSMs. 50% of total rent limiting to 10 lakh for 5 units if they are participating in a national or international event, trade fair, as a Punjab pavilion, and 25% of rent of the stall limiting to 3 lakh for domestic. uh, I think the rest of the subsidies are well available on your screen. And one of the most important is that 100% reimbursement of expenses on quality certification, subject to maximum of INR 10 lakh. So if any unit is into manufacturing of, let's say, valves and cocks, and it goes for a ULFM listing, and it's a very expensive certification with respect to the quality, then even if they are listed with Invest Punjab and they are Z qualified, Z certified, they can fill a ICAF here on the portal as well. Now comes the main incentive which the industry is actually thinking about, and that is with respect to the GST. So I'm quite sure that as chartered accountants, everyone here would be very much enlightened about it. But this is the word net SGST, which the investor generally misses out. The investor thinks that if he's setting up a unit and whatever is the GST he's charging, he's going to get an incentive on that, but it's not practically possible. So what incentive that they get is the net SGST, net GST benefit. Now, initially, before till 2018, this was only on SGST. We represented to the government of Punjab that it is not at all feasible, and rather they should delete any benefit of GST from the policy itself, because 78% of the goods of Punjab are sold outside Punjab. So what China is to the world, Punjab is to India, we used to tell them. So if they have a policy where they cannot incentivize the other GSTs, then they may as well scrap it off from the policy, to which the government paid heed. I have on records that, while we presented it from the Auto Parts Association, it was immediately taken up by the Industry and Commerce Minister, Shri Sundar Sham Arora ji. And within a very short span of time, in fact, within 1 month, the formula for the GST was revised, which included even the CGST and IGST. That formula is there in front of you. However, I would just summarize it that most of the units, they fall into the 18% category. So whatever is the net GST on sales which the unit deposits, the incentive is 1/4 of it. That's the basic ballpark figure which I have calculated from this formula. However, if someone is unable to get a good GST benefit because of the low value addition on his products, but if the unit is having 3 times the sale of its FCI, then it is guaranteed a minimum 2.5% of the FCI as an incentive from the government. Earlier, this GST incentive was only applicable to companies which would upload the CAF till 2020 January. But recently, a notification in February has come up, which amplifies that the GST benefit is available to all units who upload their CAF till 17th of October 2022. So we advise the government that any policy, any government is a 5 year government. So why don't we have the benefit for the units for 5 years as well? So we know that next year is an election year. So we were able to convince the government, and the same was extended till 2022. We hope that CII is working around the clock on policy advocacy, ease of doing business, and even asking the government for more incentive. Uh, we may not be able to get the incentives, but at the moment, what we advise the government is that having a very clear, transparent ease of doing business in place would automatically incentivize the industry in one way or the other. So as long as we are able to do business comfortably without red tape, it will be an incentive on its own. So let's see what happens next year. This is the address of Invest Punjab. Personally, my experience is that when you go there, there's a you won't recognize or you won't see that it's a government office. It's as good as a private MNC's office. They greet you very humbly, treat you with a cup of coffee, and they provide you a sectoral representative who can answer your queries and help you uploading your project and guide you how to go about it. So the link is ppindustries.gov.in, from where you can actually go online, start application process. The address is Udyog Bhavan, Sector 17. It's actually third or fourth floor where the Invest Punjab Bureau is located. So one can go there anytime. And the document, that is detailed scheme and operational guidelines, it can be downloaded from this link. However, there have been certain notifications from time and again, as it is a usual affair with the government. So one has to keep a tab on the notifications of what are the changes in the operational guidelines from time to time. But prima facie, as a basic document, you can download it from this link. That's all from my side. Thank you very much for a patient listening, and I hope that I was able to clear some picture regarding the investment and progress of industry MSME in Punjab. If there's anything that you would like to connect me for, you're most welcome to get in touch with the administrators and the organizers of this webinar, and it will be a pleasure for me to assist to the best of my capabilities and knowledge. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tusharji. It was a wonderful and a very clear, positive attitude, I would say, presentation. There was no confusions or nothing shown in the presentation. You have guided us about the government policies in a very positive attitude. That is the main point. When today's MSME program, when you have a detailed program how to apply for the MSME subsidies or how to go for the schemes or where to get the schemes, if you have shown this in a perfect manner, I believe we have made the day very well off. So it is still not over. We have with us K. Keshwanji, AGM from SIDBI. Sir is with us with a small presentation and many more to tell from the bank side. So now I request Sir to take up the mic and start the session. And after the session, if there is any doubt, Tushar sir, our members will take up to you.
Thank you, Gurleen ji. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, Gurleen ji. Very warm welcome to Mr. Sudhir and Mr. Bhushan from PNB, Madam Sonia, the chairperson of Jalandhar chapter of Indian Institute of Chartered Accountants, and Mr. Tushar Jain. A special thanks to you for detailing the Invest Punjab scheme. In fact, what we had been hearing about this scheme has been in tidbits all these days. But this platform is, I'm thankful to this platform which has given this a comprehensive picture of the scheme. So thanks again to Mr. Tushar. And I take this opportunity to congratulate the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India for the celebration of their Foundation Day. And coinciding it with the International MSME Day is also an opportune time to think what the role of CAs can be with respect to MSMEs and how the MSMEs can work in good conjunction with the CAs. And especially considering that these days there is more of a requirement from the side of the government to ensure compliances. The MSMEs are always found wanting on this aspect. And here the role of the CA is becoming more and more important. The GST, the modifications which are coming every day, the Udyam Aadhar registration processes, the pollution control processes. These are the areas where the CAs have to guide the MSMEs. And this collaborative celebration of these two sectors is really an opportune time for all of us. I would take this opportunity to go through the rush through the slides that I have. Considering that the limited time we have at our disposal, and I would like to have much time for deliberations and discussions among the audience here. So going to the next slide. The overview of MSME. Many of the speakers have earlier talked about the contribution that the MSME sector makes to the country in terms of contribution towards the GDP, in terms of contribution towards the manufacturing sector, in terms of contribution towards the exports. Here we all see that the MSME landscape is very large. It starts from the street hawkers. They also represent the MSMEs, or the well-established companies which have got listed themselves and the stock exchanges. There also we have MSMEs. So the span, the range of MSME is very big, from micro to medium. And with the change in the definition, this scope has also expanded to a great extent now. I'll show you I think the definition has been touched upon by earlier speaker also. Next slide, please. Here, next to this. Yeah, the definition which has been touched now. Earlier, we had the definition of MSMEs in terms of investment in plant and machinery only. Now we have the turnover criteria added to that. So the MSMEs have to follow a combination of both these. So the earlier slide that I had, in which I have shown what SIDBI was set up in the year 1990 to serve this sector, the MSME sector. Its role is not only restricted to financing of the sector, it is promotion, development, and financing. So the promotion and development role that we do is not much highlighted and is not much done from the Jalandhar branch that we are doing. But on a national landscape, if you see, many of the schemes that have emerged out of MSME promotion and development activities that SIDBI has done, you might have heard about CGTMSC, which is a very popular scheme. It emerged out of the promotional and developmental activity of SIDBI. The NCGTC that we have, the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana that we have, the small finance bank concept which emerged out of the microfinance units, the microfinance institutions. That has all emerged out of the promotional and developmental activities that SIDBI had done over the years. Next slide, please. This shows the development over the years that we have done. In earlier days, in the early 90s, when SIDBI was set up, its first role was to set up the bill discounting schemes. SIDBI was initially known for those schemes when we did bill discounting scheme to address the receivables, the problem of receivables of MSMEs, which were grappling with the problem of delayed receivables from large scale units. From there, we developed many more products like SVCL in 1999, CGTMS in 2000. Then the rating, if the demand was for rating of MSMEs, we came up with SMERA, which is now known as Acute Rating. Then for growing NPAs, there was a problem where the ARCs were not coming forward to take up MSME units, since they were handling only big units. So SIDBI came up with ISARC, the Asset Reconstruction Company, which was set up by SIDBI. It takes the NPA MSME units from banks and FIs. Then we came up with the Udyam Mitra Yojana, the startup scheme, the Stand Up India scheme. Then the Mudra Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana was piloted by SIDBI for when the need was there for financial inclusion, growing to the grassroots level where each and every household was to be connected to the financial requirements and through the formal banking channels. Then of late, we have been focusing more on information dissemination. We have launched Microfinance Plus and the FinTech Pulse. These are information kind of portals where we collect data through surveys with MSME units and publish them and share it with other stakeholders in the industries. So you see, over the years, SIDBI has been coming up with one or the other solutions based on the requirements of the MSMEs. Next slide, please. So at present, what we are seeing, the main requirement of MSMEs can be categorized into two broad things: the machinery finance and the project finance. Project finance is those, by project finance, we mean those kind of requirements of MSME units where the requirement is a comprehensive kind of thing, starting from land, labor, land, machinery, the working capital requirements, and when a new setup is made, all these things are required. Whereas an existing unit may be undertaking an expansion. There we have the machinery financing projects. Under machinery financing projects, a unit which is undertaking an expansion by way of acquiring new machines, there we have some attractive schemes of financing. And since due to the uncertainty of the pandemic, and earlier we had recession and the slowdown on economy, so many MSME units were not taking up project financing on a big scale. The scope was only for machinery financing. Next slide, please. Under the machinery financing theme, this year we have come up with some unique schemes in the wake of pandemic, where we provide assistance to in the form of assistance to MSMEs for recovery and organic growth during the pandemic. Those MSME units which are engaged in the production of PPE kits, ventilators, pulse oximeters, cardiac monitors, there we have schemes where we provide 100% financing for the cost of machines, subject to a maximum of 2 crores. The rate of interest is very attractive. It ranges between 5.5 to 6%. There is no processing fee in these cases. It is a composite of term loan as well as a minor amount of working capital if it is required. The repayment is over a period of 5 years. And in case of working capital term loan, it is restricted up to 18 months only. It is a very simplified process, and we strive to process these cases in a span of 48 hours. That is our main objective, and the main crux of the scheme is to give it a fast delivery product. Next slide, please. Then another scheme, these days we were seeing the shortage of oxygen in many hospitals, and many industrial units were facing problems. So we came up with a scheme called SHWAS, the SIDBI Assistance for Healthcare Sector in its war against second wave of COVID, where we provide assistance for oxygen cylinders, oxygen generators, oxygen concentrators. And not only this, there are many MSME units which are providing ancillary services to those units which are manufacturing these oxygen generators, oxygen cylinders, and even service sector, like those which are engaged in supply, the logistics, the freight carriers which are providing these kind of services to the big hospitals and big industrial units manufacturing these items. There also we have this scheme. Again, we have 100% financing option in this, subject to a maximum of 2 crores. The rate of interest is again very attractive. It is less than the amount you get in FDs these days. It is around 4.5 to 5%. There is no processing charge in these products. The repayment tenure again is 5 years and 18 months for working capital requirement. And again, as I said, we strive to process these cases within 48 hours if all your documents are well received. And the role of CA is also prominent here. They have to arrange not only for these clients, but also see that the papers are completed, then this product can provide immediate solution. And the solution is not for any MSME unit or anything like that. It is the war that we have in our hand, the fight against the pandemic. There, this role of whether it's a bank or a CA or MSME unit, we all have to work in a joint manner. We have to collaborate and find solution to these problems. Next slide, please. Other than the COVID-related products, we have some strategic tie-ups where the machinery suppliers of reputed, of national repute, like the Lakshmi Machine Works, Jyoti CNC, then Mac Power, and like that, we have many machinery suppliers of national repute who are providing machines. There we have a tie-up with them to provide machines to MSME units at a very attractive rates.
Next one.
Here again, we have this scheme also provides for 100% financing for the equipments. The rate of interest is around 8%, 8 to 8.25 you can expect. The modus operandi of this scheme is very attractive in terms that the collateral security requirement is not much. Whatever a unit gives by way of, say, promoter contribution of 25% or 20%, that amount is kept in SIDBI in the form of a fixed deposit, and that serves the purpose of the collateral security also. In that FD, we provide a rate of 5.25%. The loan is given at a rate of around 8.25%. And for the tenure of the loan, it is around 5 years.
Shall I move
Yeah, next slide, please. And not only for the machines where we don't have an MOU, there are still some machinery suppliers which are supplying to them. Here, we have a similar kind of approach where we do 100% financing of the project. We have a very good attractive rate of interest here. The rate of FD is slightly higher here. Here we charge around 30 to 35% of fixed deposit with SIDBI. And loans of up to rupees 3 crores can be taken here. Again, it is a fast delivery product. We try to do these cases within a week or 10 days. We have added many clients during the last 1 year. We have some variants also of this scheme where we provide solutions for energy efficiency to MSME units. So we can see that there are many products which SIDBI has to offer for equipment financing. And over the last 2 years, we have been successfully adding these products to our portfolios. Next slide, please, ma'am. Then we have a scheme called STAR. These days, for the energy bill of the MSME units, to address that problem, the government is also insisting on acquisition of solar panels. The solar panels will have some strategic arrangement with the state electricity board where they provide some meter, some concessional meter reading, and they provide some subsidies also. For financing of these rooftop solar panels, SIDBI has a tie-up with Tata Solar. With Tata Solar, where we provide financing again for 100% of the cost of the project. The FD requirement here is around 15 to 25%. We have a mix of security in this. There are around 4 options where we have, not only do you have to create FD with SIDBI at a concessional rate, we give an option in the form of a combination of fixed deposit plus CGTMSE, a combination of fixed deposit plus security by way of equitable mortgages of land or building that you may be having. Then the rate of interest again here is very attractive. The installation cost, the reimbursement of the ancillaries that you will be having with the solar panel machineries, the associated cost with these products is also reimbursed, and these can also be covered under the financing from SIDBI. The tenure for the loan is around 4 years. Then there are some general requirements. A unit should be in profitable, should be having profits. It should be having a growth in its turnover. Like that, there are some conditions which are to be met. In these days, it is not very difficult to meet those conditions, and many of the units are showing interest. Some of the problems that we face in this product is that there are some cold storage units where these are mostly in rural areas. They are very much in requirement of these installation of total solar panels. There, the requirement of obtaining land use certificate from the local authorities, that is some area where we are finding some difficulty, and some intermediaries like the CAs and all, they can be of help in this area. Next slide. Then there is a need for working capital. Of course, SIDBI is not like a commercial bank. We don't do day-to-day banking commercial activity. So what we have done is we have entered into strategic tie-ups with some established banks like Yes Bank, City Union Bank, IDBI Bank, where we enable our customers to open their account with these banks, and the working capital facility is channeled through these lines. But here our requirement is that the customer should be having a 1-year relationship with SIDBI. In those cases, we offer this facility, and we are looking to expand this portfolio also. And so our existing customers, I am hopeful many of our CA brothers are here who are interacting with our MSME clients. They will guide them to obtain the working capital facilities from SIDBI, as we are looking to expand this portfolio in this area also. The customers are mostly in the MSME sectors. The minimum limit that we offer them is around 10 lakh. The ACR requirements, that is the asset coverage ratio requirements, is also quite in line with the industry standards. Then, although takeover is one of the formats that we are open to, but frankly, none of the cases we have taken over from other banks, because SIDBI, being a refinancing institution, has its role to play the role of a financer for the banking and the MSME community stakeholders like MFIs, NBFCs, and other players also. So takeover is a last resort for us when there is really a problem in terms of sharing of security, or there is some problem in terms of rate of interest, or some other problem which the existing banker of the MSME customer is not able to offer the services. There only we have a strategy of takeover of working capital facilities from other banks. Let me tell you, ever since I took over from Jalandhar branch, we have not taken over a single account from any of the banks. Although we are open to it, there is no restriction so far as our guidelines is concerned. But so as a prudential practice, we are not quite encouraging it as a general practice. Next slide. These are some schemes which are for our existing customers we offer. The Twarit scheme, the Reserve Bank of India had last year given some additional funds, which is known as GECL among the banking circles. This product is also available with SIDBI for our existing customers. We provide assistance. This year we have launched a new scheme called Liquid for our existing customers, where we provide assistance at the rate of 6% to our existing customers. Next slide. We have tied up with PhD CCI. Those MSME customers who are a member of PhD CCI, there we have a tie-up with PhD CCI that the loan process, the loan applications of the MSMEs can have a preliminary scrutiny from the PhD CCI. We have trained the office bearers of PhD CCI to see that the customers are guided about the requirements of different banks and other agencies and other regulating agencies. And they guide the MSME customers how to fill their application, how to keep their papers in order. They launch their application with us. They help in launching. We share some processing fee with them. And in this arrangement, the members can lodge their application with SIDBI. Next slide. Yeah, these are the plethora of services that we do. The Stand Up India program, Stand Up India, Startup India, will take it up at some later stage in future, because the CAs, they are not associated with these kind of projects, with these kind of projects of MSME. So I'll discuss it at some other platform. Can we move to the next one? Yeah, thank you. I think this covers the gamut of activities that we have and we expect the CA community to share with the MSMEs. And we look forward to some active collaboration with the Jalandhar chapter also. Madam Sonia and Mr. Gurleen, they visited my office, and I'm sure we'll take this further. And many MSME clients will associate with SIDBI in future. I'm hopeful of that. And again, thanks to Mr. Tushar Jain, the uh, officers from Punjab National Bank and other CAs who are in this platform at this webinar. I again wish them a very happiness for the Foundation Day celebration for the Jalandhar chapter, and I wish them all the success in future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Keshwanji. I would like to inform you that the CA Day is celebrated on 1st of July, and we are taking a week activity where we are doing a lot of activities on the ground of knowledge, also on the ground of fitness, also on the ground of family entertainment, also in this week. So, as Sonia ma'am has already told about the upcoming programs of the week, and now about the seminar, Tushar sir has guided us very well about the Punjab schemes, or I would say MSME schemes for the small funds where the CAs can guide to the clients. And Keshwan sir has guided about the SIDBI plans which we have, where we can help our clients to get the benefit of the maximum. So it is a perfect blend where to celebrate the MSME Day in a very intelligent and a professional manner. So now I request Sonia ma'am to say a few words, and I announce the audience to please ask for any question if there is for any PNB Bank, for Tushar sir or Keshwan sir, if anyone wants to come up. And I would also like to mark one line about the Tushar sir, that in the morning only, Gaurav Agarwal sir has guided me about your personality and your knowledge. So we were already well aware of that today is going to be a great day, and we have chosen the perfect person for telling us about the Invest Punjab schemes. So over to you, Sonia ma'am, for a few words.
Thank you, Gurleen ji. Sir, we are really fortunate enough to have a blend of professional excellence at our platform. And now I think one query from Salil Gupta sir is there. So, sir, I can unmute yourself and you can ask. And anybody else if want to ask, they can ask. Salil sir, are you there?
Salil sir is present, but I guess he is not unmuted himself. The query was for the Tushar sir, and
Yeah.
it was, what is the cost for right to business? मेरे ख्याल से सर का पूछने का क्वेश्चन था कि वो आपने बताया था राइट टू बिजनेस का एप्लीकेशन थी, उसके रिगार्डिंग था ये.
Sir, actually, I think what Mr. Gupta wanted to know was that what is the cost of getting an application approved? Well, to the best of my knowledge, in fact, rather to be accurate, on Invest Punjab, for making a right to business application is free of cost. Basically, the amount that you pay is for the in principle approval, which is provided under 5 different heads. The in principle approval is given for the CLU, building plan approval, fire NOC, and Factory Act. So all these in principle approvals, whatever is the fee calculation as per your CAF, common application form, that is how much area is there, what is the amount of construction that you are doing. So the calculations on the basis of this is actually what you have to pay to these departments tomorrow, but that is what you pay upfront during the Right to Business Act approval. So Right to Business approval, in fact, is applicable to a unit which has not yet started construction. If someone has already taken the CLU or someone has already got the building plan approval, they are still eligible to upload that approval while making the right to business application. And once their file is approved, they can go ahead for the construction.
Great, sir. I would also request Bhushan Sharma sir ki if the sir wants to share any additional knowledge in regard to the today's topic or about the speaker's presentation.
Gulinji, there is one query from Sanjeev Paul Agarwal sir about G&K industrial policy also. They are asking about.
Sanjeev Paul ji, if you can unmute yourself. A great message is given by Ajay Jainji that the fee for the registration of partnership firm has been increased to rupees 5,000. CII should give representation on this. So even I have heard about this. Earlier the partnership registration fee was rupee 1, and they are planning to increase it. I'm not sure whether they have increased it or not.
So Tushar sir, I think the representation from the CII should be given for that too. And now no
Well,
other.
I am not aware of this increase in the registration fee as on date. If so has happened, we can of course raise it up. The proper protocol to do that would be that first of all, if someone can share the notification with me, perhaps Mr. Ajay Jain, he can share it with you and you can pass it on to us. From the district level, that is from the zonal council, will make it as a representation to the state council, and the state council raises it to the national council. So from this particularly pertains to the whole of India. So if so has happened, I think it affects the whole of the peninsula, and they will make everyone would like to make a representation. So a representation from the CA association, from CII collectively, and from other associations would, I think so, convince the government to return back to the same. That is the previous regime or the previous charges. Just have a word with Mr. Ajay and get the notification if you can.
Sure, sir.
I think no more query is there, Gulinji. So thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful deliberation.
Bhushan sir was unmuting to say a few words. भूषण जी आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे?
सर मुझे ऐसा लगा कि आपने बोला था कि मुझे कुछ
आई जस्ट आस्क्ड यू कि सर आपकी कोई प्रेजेंटेशन को लेके कोई क्वेरी है या कोई स्पेशल रिमार्क्स है तो आई आस्क फॉर दैट.
देखिए, एक तो ये है कि हम प्रेजेंटेशन नहीं बना के लाए, हमने कहा हम ही प्रेजेंटेशन खुद ही हैं, चलो फिर. दूसरा, ये जैन साहब ने और अयंगर जी ने जितने अच्छे तरीके से सारा कुछ हमें बताया है, इवन जो हमें भी बहुत कुछ उसमें पता लगा है कि चलो ये सब चीजें भी हैं और जो हम लोग को भी फायदा देगा अपने प्रोस्पेक्टिव कस्टमर्स के साथ बात करने में. हमारे पास कोई फंडिंग प्रपोजल आता है तो या हम ढूंढते हैं तो अपने आप तो नहीं आएगा, वी हैव टू सर्च. तो इसमें ज्यादा कुछ मैं ऐड तो नहीं कर पाऊंगा, बस मैं यही कहूंगा कि भाई हम लोगों का जो एक ही मोटो है कि हमको ज्यादा बिजनेस करना है अपने बैंक के लिए, और उसका एक ही फंडा है कि हम टैट कम करेंगे, कस्टमर सर्विस इंप्रूव करेंगे. और मैं कोई सर्कुलेट के हिसाब से दूरी नहीं है, आई एम अप्रोचेबल टू ऑल. आप लोग तो चलो बड़े स्टीम्ड हो, मैं तो वैसे कहता हूँ फॉर ए जनरल कस्टमर भी आई एम ऑलवेज अप्रोचेबल, तभी मुझे पता लगेगा कि कहाँ स्टैंड करते हैं हम, अदरवाइज बहुत दूरी हो जाती है कस्टमर और बैंकर के बीच में. तो मेरा आप सबसे ये रिक्वेस्ट है, मैडम से रिक्वेस्ट है कि मैडम अपने फोरम पे जहां भी आप चाहो मेरा नंबर प्लीज शेयर कर दो, मुझे जितने डिग्निटरीज हैं हमें इनका नंबर शेयर कर दो, ताकि हम इन सबसे अलग अलग भी मिलेंगे, आपके पास भी आएंगे. हमें जितनी जल्दी अपने आप को, बस वी हैव टू टेक ऑफ लाइक एनीथिंग, कि हमको टेक ऑफ करना है, आपसे मिलना है, अपनी स्कीम्स को पॉपुलर. देखिए स्कीम हर बैंक में होती है, ऐसा कोई बैंक नहीं जिसके पास स्कीम नहीं हो, लेकिन बिजनेस सबको नहीं मिलता, बिजनेस उसको मिलता है जिसने करना है. तो अभी हमें उम्मीद है कि हम आपके एक्सपेक्टेशन पे पूरी तरह खरे उतरेंगे. शर्मा जी मेरे बड़े भाई हैं, इनके पास जो पैशन है फंडिंग का और जो एक्सपीरियंस है, मोर देन 23 इयर्स ही हैज बीन इनटू क्रेडिट ओनली. तो और लोकल होने के नाते ही नोज एवरीथिंग अबाउट पीपल प्लेस, तो वो बहुत अच्छा रहेगा. मतलब मैं ज्यादा कुछ ऐड नहीं कर पाऊंगा टेक्निकली, बस मैं रीअश्योरेंस करूंगा कि हम लोग हर एक्सपेक्टेशन पे पूरी तरह से उतरेंगे, खरे उतरेंगे. और ये मौका जो मुझे मिला है आज, ये इसके लिए मैं आप सबका धन्यवादी हूँ। और आप लोगों की एसोसिएशन हमेशा तरक्की करती रहे, आप लोग पर्सनल जीवन में तरक्की करते रहे, आप सबके फैमिली मेंबर्स एंड यू ऑल शुड बी ऑलवेज सिक्योर, सेफ। गॉड ब्लेस यू ऑल। दिस इज व्हाट आई मीन टू से। थैंक यू।
थैंक यू सर। सर आपकी एक बात से ना मेरे को एक बड़ी छोटी सी स्टोरी एक बच्चे की याद आती है। कहते हैं कि एक बच्चा ना अपने घर से उसके मम्मा से कभी भी स्वीट्स खुद नहीं उठाता, ठीक है, ऑफिस हमेशा कहता है पापा को आप मेरे को उठा के दो। वो क्यों ऐसे करता है, उसके पीछे उसे ये लगता है जब मैं उठाऊंगा मेरे हाथ छोटे हैं तो मेरे को कम मिलता है, जब पापा देते हैं तो ज्यादा देते हैं। तो आज ये लेसन एक नॉलेज के लिए, जब हम कुछ पढ़ते हैं तो वो कम होता है, बट जब हम 4-5 जाने अपनी नॉलेज आज इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे शेयर कर रहे हैं ना, तो सर वो ज्यादा ही मिलता है। तो आई थिंक दीज विल कंटिन्यू इन फ्यूचर ऑल्सो, कि हम एड अप करके ऐसे ही नॉलेज शेयर करते रहें, एक दूसरे को देते रहें। तो आई थिंक दैट विल बी द
एज एंड व्हेन द सिचुएशन परमिट्स, हम एक छोटा सा फिजिकल गेट टुगेदर भी रखें।
डेफिनेटली डेफिनेटली।
चलिए, शर्मा जी भी कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे?
मैम पहले तो अगेन थैंक यू, क्योंकि हमें काफ़ी आप लोगों से भी सुनने को मिला और उससे हमारी नॉलेज में इजाफा हुआ है। तो मैडम एक बात क्लियर कर दूं, बैंक में, किसी भी बैंक में एमएसएमई की ऐसी कोई रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है जो हम बैंक पूरी ना कर सकें। ठीक है, टाइम शॉर्ट था, हम भी को एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर पाए ज़्यादा। रेस्ट एश्योर्ड, ऐसी कोई स्कीम, ऐसी कोई रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है एमएसएमई यूनिट की जो बैंक पूरी ना कर पाए। तो ऑलवेज यू आर ऑलवेज वेलकम, चाहे सीआई के थ्रू आए या आपके थ्रू आए या कस्टमर सीधा इंटरेक्शन करें, तो रेस्ट एश्योर्ड हम उनकी नीड्स को पूरा करने के लिए हमेशा ईगर। थैंक यू मैम।
थैंक यू ऑल।
सो गुरलीन जी नाउ।
तुषार जी, आपके प्रिय मित्र गौरव अग्रवाल जी ने अभी अभी हमारे को नोटिफिकेशन, वो जो न्यूज़पेपर का क्लिप आया है निकाल के भेज दिया कि गवर्नमेंट इज प्लानिंग टू इंक्रीज द रजिस्ट्रेशन फीस। आई हैव शेयर्ड द सेम ऑन द व्हाट्सएप, तो प्लीज सर इसको
Yes, sir. मेरे को भी उन्होंने WhatsApp किया है, so my reply was as simple as that, that till the time it's in the newspaper, it's not officially launched. We don't make a representation. That's our CII protocol. We don't work on rumors, but yes, once something is there and it is on the cards, we are sure that we will do whatever we can from our side. And industry का तो एक ही मुद्दा होता है जी, we are all Punjabis, कि व्यापारी दा एक डंडा ते 100 झंडा. So, we tell the government that, if you listen to us, we'll put your flag on the pole, or else we know which other flag do we have to put on the pole. So we cannot sit around. साडे कोलों तरने नहीं देते जाते. We have ample opportunity and a lot of business to handle. We have many more people working around for us. Whom do we have to take care of? So we can't just let the ball rolling here and there and leave our premises and go on a dharna. But we have our own many ways to, tell the government what to do, what not to do.
As I have said in the beginning also, that you have a very positive attitude, personality. So that is the best part for you and also the whole community, that the chairman has such a thinking and such a attitude. So I think we have covered all the queries. There's one small last message from Gagan Pal Singh, CA. Please share the PDF documents for fiscal benefit to the business. So I think PDF and other documents from Tasa will be shared in the group only today. And now I request our Vice Chairperson, C. Shashi Bhushan ji, to please give the vote of thanks to the eminent speakers and the chief guests.
Thank you, Kulin Singh. I, C.A. Shashi Bhushan, Vice Chairman, Jalandhar Branch, feel privileged to present vote of thanks. Today's program was full of learning new dimensions of business sector, that is MSME. Today is International MSME Day. MSME is a sector which provides maximum covering of industrial sector and provides maximum employment everywhere. So understanding all the details, schemes related to MSME is very important for businessmen as well as chartered accountants. So we are thankful to our chief guest, Mr. Bhushan Sharma, our guest of honor, Sudhir Sharma sir from PNB, and our guest speaker, Mr. Tushar Jain and Mr. K. Keshwan sir. The knowledge you all shared is really very helpful and will be useful for all of us. Also, this program was part of CA Day celebration, and today morning we have wonderful mini marathon. So along with learning, Jalandhar branch is also trying its best to keep all the members healthy. So we are thankful to all the members for joining the program. Wish you a great success. Stay healthy. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Ma'am, you can end the meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ji. Thank you very much.
So,